Hey, what's up out there? It's David Duford here at davidduford.com, and you are joining me on my monthly No BS life insurance sales training spectacular. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It is 6 o'clock Eastern on beautiful New Year's Day. Hope you're having a fantastic beginning of the year. This is the time of year when we start thinking. Hopefully, we've already thought a little bit, but at least start enacting and carrying out our personal and business goals. I know I've been busy to work in my workbook over here in front of me, devising and scheming my way to hopefully even more success and plentifulness. And I hope you have too. That's probably part of what we're going to be talking about today in our conversation, which should last right around an hour. And generally speaking, if you've never joined me on one of these live streams before, what you can expect today is really kind of a 1-2 punch, I guess you could say. First of all, I'm going to do a topic. Specifically, I think this is one of my best because I get to be the old man with wisdom and dispense upon ye greens and newbies what not to do, or I should say what I would have done differently had I known what I know now. So it is should be useful and informative type of training in conjunction with answering your questions as it relates to anything at all, sales training, life insurance leads, final expense, Medicare, you name it, you ask it, I answer it. That is the pledge I make to you today. So let me check this chat here, make sure everybody can hear me. Give me a shout out if you can hear me all right. Hey, Glenna, how you doing? Byron? Hey, Rick, what's going on? Thank you for purchasing the Seminar Master Program. Yeah, what you'll want to do, by the way, if set up a private one-on-one with me. I'll be able to better answer your questions then. If you don't know how to get that, just go to davidduford.com/contact. Send me a message. I'll send you a schedule link, and then you and I can talk this week or next week, and we can get going. Hey, Mark Manor, how you doing? Alicio, how you doing? Thank you very much. Glad you liked the family picture. Shannon, Robert, Melissa, Chris. Hey, Brian, David. All right, let's get rolling. Okay, so here's the schedule of things to happen. So I encourage you at any point to go ahead and ask any questions that you have. What I will be doing is taking them kind of interspersed within today's training topic. So don't feel like you have to hold off and wait to the very end. Feel free to answer it. And kind of what seems to like work, I kind of muddle through this stuff, is, I take one part of the training topic, then take a few seconds or a few minutes, whatever the length is, to answer whatever questions that you have. Mortif, thank you very much. Yeah, check it out. If you got any questions, feel free to post them too. So today, let's get right into it. I've done a video on this before, and I like to do them every year or two because what you find through the process of mastery, through the process of improvement, is that your mindset, your experiences somewhat shift. Now, they're not going to shift dramatically, especially after a period of time. But it's interesting to look back and see what you have gone through to get to the point in your life where you are now. And I think as all who are successful in life can tell you that they've made a tremendous amount of mistakes. There is not one person alive who has gotten away with failure or without failing and has arrived at some position of success, of great success or fantastic, unbelievable success. There's a multitude of failures along the way, and so much so that many of them will tell you who are successful that the only reason they're there is they just never quit. So I have compiled a couple of different points that I wanted to talk about today as far as what I would have done differently had I known what I do now. And again, if you don't know who I am, just to kind of recap, I've been selling life insurance, specifically final expense, since I was licensed in 2011. I got into the life insurance business out of sheer desperation. Nobody would hire me. Jobs were not as plentiful as they seemingly are today. And I had to bite the bullet and go to the lowest depths possible, and life insurance was there waiting for me. Of course, I say all this tongue-in-cheek because I love the business. It's fantastic. It allows for a lifestyle and a level of income that is really second to none. And it allows for you the ability to grow to whatever amount that you are capable of, plus giving you the freedom and ability to live the life the way you want to. Of course, it's not like that immediately in some circumstances. For many, we have to pay our dues. Make no bones about it. Because you get into the life insurance business or insurance business, that doesn't mean that you're granted or guaranteed success. You have got to apply yourself. You've got to give yourself the time and capability to succeed. And so, again, I got into the business. I failed out, to keep things short. About 12 months in, went to get my first, it was actually my first real job at like 28 or 29. I had always been a business owner before that. And I hated it, and realized that the final expense business, as much as I failed out and quit it at that point, wasn't nearly as bad as the idea of working for somebody else, making somebody else rich, taking orders from some schlep that, I didn't respect the guy, and I didn't even like the product I was working. So long story short, I worked back into the final expense business and have been here ever since, and that was around 2013 that I quit. The first and last real job that I ever had. So what I'm going to tell you, based off of my personal production experience, as well as my experience now 5 years recruiting agents and training them to become top producers as well, I'm going to try my best to give you what I think are 5 different, I don't know how you could describe these philosophies, practices, just kind of an all-encompassing type of description that hopefully, if you do anything today, you at least take one of these pieces of advice, because there's so much in telling you this advice that I've forgotten in the attempt to try to convey it to you, right? Because it is something that I've arrived to after, we're at this point, 8 years into the business. So let's begin. So the first thing I have to implore you is, it's not so much about what product you sell. It's not about what's hot as far as some sort of product like annuities or index universal life or term insurance or whatever the product of the day is. It's less about product as much as it is about, of course, personal commitment and proper mindset. But the point I'm trying to make here, the most important thing is to replicate and duplicate best practices, okay? I want to tell you guys, and I'm specifically speaking to you out there who are brand new or relatively new. Maybe you are just getting started, or you've started and you've experienced some frustration. You're not 100% sure if this business is for you, because the way it was explained to you is not how it really was when you actually got out there in the field, and you're kind of doubting yourself. The key thing here, guys, is that the life insurance business, the insurance business in general, is old as dirt. It is not a new and upcoming business that is untested, unfounded. The beauty of selling life insurance is that it is a process, and it is an entire process from marketing to selling, that if you find the right organization, you find the right upline, the right manager, the right mentor, they're going to provide you, if they're good, a system that can be duplicated. That is the crucial element of success in this business, guys, is that when you get involved in selling insurance, you have to not just be thinking about the product, the organization. You need to think about the systems involved that you can tap into, that is proven by other people also tapping into it from different backgrounds, from different parts of the country, male, female, whatever. You want something that has a consistent level of success. Because the likelihood, and again, this is another point we'll talk about later, is trusting the process. You have to take a leap of faith and understand, if all these people can do it, then I can too. So again, when I started in the final expense business, I hooked up with an organization, and I was taught from the ground up exactly how to sell final expense, from the prospecting process to what to say on the phone, to how to present to the client, how to close for the deal, and how to repeat that process and control myself from a mindset position when the highs are high and the lows are low, okay? And you need to surround yourself with people that will allow that process to happen, that can help you in that intent to go out there and duplicate a process. Because in combination with having a process, I can tell you the other aspect that you've got to worry about is making sure that you keep committed to yourself to actually follow that process, okay? Again, the crazy thing about this business is that it's really boring. I mean, in the sense of, newfounded ways to be successful. You literally just do what you're told. You follow a process and a system, and if you do, you're likely to have a lot of success. Can't guarantee it, but the likelihood is pretty high. And that's where I failed. I overthought the system, and again, I'm kind of getting ahead here, covering all the different points here, but we'll wrap up the first point here, and before I go ahead and jump in and answer a bunch of these questions. And the key thing here, guys, is systems. If you are contracted with an agency or talking to an agency and they don't have you, and they haven't explained to you a system a process to follow. They haven't introduced you or shown you people who have successfully followed the same one they're trying to convince you of, then you need to hold that position, that agency, or whomever you're working with as suspect, because the failure rate is so dramatically high in this business because you're essentially a business owner. Okay, small businesses have a survival rate of like 5% in 5 years. It's probably worse than that. So you got to make sure you have this in place if you want to give yourself the best chances. Again, all of this has been worked out. I promise you, you don't need to think about this too hard. You just need to follow what system you're given and do it. Okay, questions here. All right. I have a hard time with leads. No answer, or I never asked for it. Ken Kremsner, how you doing, man? What I would maybe want to follow up with this so I can better answer your question. What kind of leads are you working? Are they new? Are they old? As far as leads, are they direct mail, Facebook, telemarketed leads? What industry or what niche are you working? And are you only calling them over the phone, or have you attempted to door knock? If you can kind of respond to that with a little more clarification, I'll definitely be able to help you better. Bob, hey Bob, what's going on? Is the phone entries phonial, or does the underwriter take a second look? I'm having a little hard time understanding you, Bob. Is a phone interest phonial? Okay, repeat that question for me. Alicio, hey, how you doing? When do you branch out from your home state and start selling in other states? Sometimes it does not make sense chasing one policy if you're not going to sell more consistently. Yeah, absolutely. So this depends on what you're doing. So I live in East Tennessee, all right, in a town called Chattanooga. I'm 20 minutes from Georgia. I'm also about 45 minutes from Alabama. And all of these areas tend to be areas I like to work. Small town America, country. I like to drive out to go to those areas. And for me, when I made the switch to target another area, it was when I had worked pretty much Tennessee in my little area, about an hour drive radius, over the course of a couple of years, okay? And what I found, and you will find this too if you're working a direct mail system, really any lead system, is that if you use the same kind of leads and the type of lead doesn't change dramatically, you will get what we call chronic card filler outers. I literally have had people that have sent the card back like 5+ times. And one lady in particular, I sold her, she sent in 4 cards. I sold her all 3 times, except for the 4th time, and she lapsed within the first 5 days. Each time I sold her, obviously 3 strikes and you're out. I wouldn't go back and never see that crazy old woman again. So that was an impetus for me personally to target another state. I think it's important that part of the process of a successful sales system is to make sure that you're generating leads in an area that will allow you to follow a functional follow a functional appointment system. So what you don't want to do is use some sort of esoteric lead. It may be very good, and you're doing face-to-face, let's say, and you get a lead in, I don't know, if you live in California, you get one in San Diego, you get one in LA, you get one in Santa Barbara, and I mean, think of the drive time, think of the traffic. Like that's something where it's all in the same state, but the point is still, if you have leads spread out, you're going to lead to a lot of inefficiency. So the key is to stay compact geographically as much as possible, especially with a face-to-face system. Not so much problem with telesales, but I think it's easier to stay in one state simply because if you can help it, especially in the beginning, the paperwork's all the same. I can't tell you how many apps I've screwed up when I wrote a Georgia app on Tennessee paper, and you leave a house, you don't get back in. That's a 50-50 shot you're going to actually get the deal. You get all the material the same. You don't have to pay non-resident fees, non-resident appointments. So it's better if you can just consolidate yourself. At what point do you switch? When you get tired of working in an area, when you think you need a mental lift? I mean, that's why I left Tennessee and worked Alabama. It was a new environment for me at the time. And it just mentally gave me kind of a boost because, hey, I'm not seeing Miss Mildred that I've seen 5 times and she's left the last 4 or whatever, So, audio breaking up badly. Hopefully, if you guys have any other audio problems, let me know. Maybe I need to keep my mouth in the microphone down here. So, Jeffrey Dixon, hey Dave, who was the first agency you worked for? It's called Equita Final Expense Services. A good group of people. Annuities, Happy New Year. That's right, Bobby. Jeff asked, was your first job commission only or base pay? Like I said, man, I had a bunch of like short-term jobs in college. I had an internship when I studied abroad in London. It was an internship. I didn't get paid anything. I got out of school. I started my personal training business. So I guess you could say it was straight commission, right? I've never really ever had a job that paid a wage. The only one I did was when I worked at Aramark, that when I failed out of final expense and had to get a job, I had a wage, but there was salary plus commission. Hey, Chris, what's going on, man? Where can we purchase your materials? Oh, man, I thought you never asked. So you're probably seeing this book, The Official Guide to Final Expense, and, of course, the interviews with top producing agents. You can go to my website. daviddufour.com is the hub to buy my stuff. And you can see everything that I sell at the top. I got a couple of different programs, training resources. Investigate it. You'll see the books. You can see the links there too. But yeah, everything you want to buy, go there first. Dave, your seminar, Mortief, what's up? Dave, your seminar program, is it a system to follow? Pretty much, yeah, absolutely. So what I teach in the seminar mastery program is, as a final expense agent, how to prospect facilities that house seniors so that you can go in, learn a presentation to present to a small group. It's no more than 5 or 15 on average. And then how to convert those leads optimally. I tell you from A to Z how to do it. It's like a business out of the box. It's $2.99. You can go to my website to find out more about it. I actually have a program where if you do business with me, let's say you pick up a carrier with me and write 5 deals, I will refund that difference back to you. So it's a way to incentivize production to my agency because, frankly, what I try to do is build my recruiting agency above all else because that's the most lucrative in this business. And I use these programs to kind of give people a system, right, like I was talking about earlier, to be successful. Okay, I'm going to hold off on the questions now. And let's talk about number 2, of what I would have done differently. And this is really important. This may or may not apply to you depending on how can I say, how not deliberative, but how questioning you are. So my biggest personal characteristic that I think is great is also the worst side and gives you the most problems as a life insurance agent. Because I just told you, number 1, follow the system. I'm essentially saying, in other words, shut up and do what I tell you to do. Okay, it's, I'm saying it nicely, right? However, if you've got, above average IQ, you're going to think, well, why am I needing to do it this way, right? Part of the reason you're on my YouTube channel is because you wonder, why is this done this way? Or you've seen something and you question it. That's totally fine. The problem is there is a fine line where you can think too hard and too much to the point where you're paralyzed by analysis. We all heard paralysis by analysis, right? And so for me personally, this is one of the biggest reasons of my downfall. So here's what happened. The same system I learned in 2011 is the same system, 99%, that I teach agents right now. It's what I did when I got back into the business. Literally nothing has changed. Imagine, look back to 2011, guys. Remember what life was like in 2011 to 2019, first day of the year? So much has changed, right? Well, nothing has changed in final expense, okay? However, a year into my business as a final expense agent, I started about 9 months. I started questioning the system. Damn, I hate these deadbeats. I hate these people who don't show up for their appointments or lapse their policies or lie to me. Or I hate sitting in cat piss. I hate sitting on the edge of some bed with roaches crawling over the ceiling. I hate this stuff. It's, and it bothers you more when you're not making sales. So my process, my way of thinking was, man, there's got to be a better way. And that was where, and I know this probably sounds a little weird, but that's where things turned south. Is my focus was on how can I circumvent this system to avoid all the pain and just get all the pleasure, right? We all want that at one point or another in this business. It's normal. The problem that I had, and so I came up with a new lead piece. It wasn't a failure. It wasn't a success, but I avoided the other system. The other approach worked way better. That's the crazy thing. I had this elaborate lead piece. It was tons of copy, great sales, in my opinion, great sales copy. I stopped my other lead campaign to do this. I dropped like $2,000 on it. I barely broke even, where at the same amount of money, I would have gotten like 50, 60, 70 leads versus the 15 I got, would have made double, triple the sales, probably would have been in a lot better situation. So I say all this because the brain and the thinking of how I could improve the system cost me temporarily, thankfully, my career selling insurance. And I realized that looking at myself personally, what I do and then what's characteristic to me is that I'm kind of a tinker. I'm an engineer. If you've talked to me, I analyze things and try to find a better way. That's normal. That's fine. But the problem was what I was trying to fix, what I was trying to improve was the outcome of decades of refinement and improvement and fixing. Meaning, the simple little direct mail system, you may qualify for a state-regulated life insurance program, was literally the same lead that was used probably since the 60s or 70s. So in this IMO, which produced multi-millions of dollars of production a year with successful agents across the country doing it, we're doing the same thing and had a track record of success, not just in that IMO, but other IMOs using a similar lead card too. And me, Dave over here with the big brain, decided that, oh, I know better. I'm going to improve this. And what ended up happening was my demise. So what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is you have to respect the input that you're unaware of at what is being offered to you as far as the system goes. And you have to respect the fact that there are other people who are successful with this, that literally are working the same people, the same environments, the same circumstances, dealing with the same BS, okay? There is no way to avoid pain in a business, okay? Life is unavoidable from pain. Pain is a part of life. It's what actually helps us grow into bigger, stronger, better people. A life of pure satisfaction is like Brave New World. You take your soma. You don't, really experience what life is. I tell agents now, look, every business model is not there's no perfect business as far as a perfect system. In a sales system, you have to accept the good with the bad. And the truth is, with the approach that we teach, you're going to go out there, right, guys? You're going to see people who no-show you. You're going to see people who curse at you, slam the door in your face, in gross living conditions that you just cannot believe are in this particular circumstance. This is all if you sell fine expense. Might be better if you're selling Medicare supplements or something else. So, long story short, my maturity and my success in this business skyrocketed once I got back in because I had the ability to come back and get back into it. And I realized through my failure that, wow, if I had just did what I was told, this whole thing would have been completely avoided. And now fast forward 5 years, I've did exactly what I was told or I was taught at this point. And I implore you guys to do that too, because here's the thing. You have to look at this business as your only shot. You will not come back in this business if you fail. You will not get the success that you deserve, that you seek, if you do not follow through on the instructions and the advice and the game plan that you are given and taught and instructed to. Because if you fail out, it's back to working for the man, making crap pay, working crap hours in a life that you don't want. So you have to have a leap of faith to some extent. You have to have some humility. You have to understand that these things are being told to you specifically so you can succeed, and that people generally don't want to send you astray. Now, with all that said, there are obviously organizations and setups to where it ain't that good, and I get that, and you want to make those changes if you're in an opportune environment, but hopefully that makes sense. Okay, a couple of questions here. Okay. Benefits boss. Hey, what's going on? I sell mainly to postal workers. I want to know about your annuity appointment setting program. Hold on. Okay. Appointment setting program. Let me describe this for you, benefits boss. Real simple. We cold call, set broad-based appointments to go in and present a fact finder where we help people in the senior category, mid-60s to mid-70s roughly, of probably middle income and lower means, kind of I would say lower income, not lower income, lower middle class to middle class. And we go in and describe benefits that they may qualify for they're unaware of. And through this process, we fact find for life, annuity, and Medicare case. But the big goal is to get the annuity case. And what's great is a lot of these people are underserved because they have money a little bit, but not a lot. But they don't get the attention from their financial advisor. And a lot of the programs that they're put into, you probably are aware of this if you see it in the market, they're cookie cutter. And they're laden with fees. and they're not performing as well as alternatives. And with the index annuity products out there, there's a huge opportunity to flip that business that's in those or underperforming annuities. The index universal life index annuity business has become, fixed index annuity business has become a lot better and is a great opportunity. So we do that. We set the appointments 12 to 15 a week. You give us the area you want to work. We'll give you the scripting, the process. We set you up with a carrier. It is a program where you have to do your annuity business with us, at least through that one carrier. If there's something you want to learn more about, guys, including you, Benefits Boss, go to daviddufour.com/contact. Send me a message, set up a time. We'll send you some information, review about it, so you can kind of look at it on your own comfort of your own home and decide for yourself if it's something that's sensible for you. Okay, Ken. Hey, back to Ken. I work Facebook leads, direct marketing, call them all the time. I buy 40 leads in touch with 4, sell 2. This is on a good batch. Okay. Also, door knock the same amount, outcome, not interested. Okay. So I buy 40, get in touch with 4, sell 2. Okay. Yeah, man, let me tell you something about Facebook leads. That's what's hot right now. Everybody's doing Facebook leads. I'm starting to see people who are chronic Facebook lead form filler outers, and they are chronically slammed with phone calls all day long, okay? I believe Facebook leads, there are two things unique about Facebook leads that is the reason why I don't like them relative. Well, I say I don't like them. I think direct mail is superior to them. The first thing with Facebook leads is that they're a more, I would say, sophisticated lead if we're talking final expense here. They are definitely better off income-wise, but they're more technologically savvy, right? Because by default, they're on Facebook leads. So they probably are better at screening phone calls, not answering phones. Do you find that a lot of them don't pick up the phone? I would imagine the answer is yes. That's what I have found with agents I work with and talking with other agents as well. The other thing that's crazy about Facebook leads is that there is this dramatic polarity between people who are in love with it, whatever you're selling them, and people who swear up and down they never requested the information. I think Chris is on the stream today, and Chris and I had a conversation via email, and he was the one that termed the idea of polarity. And the concept is that you'll walk up to people, if you door knock, let's say, and they're just completely in love with the idea of buying life insurance from you. They're like, hey, come on in. Absolutely. I remember doing that. And it's like, great. It's a lay down. It's an easy sale. But then you'll go out to half of them, probably more like 2/3 of them, where they're like, what the hell are you talking about? I've got life insurance. I've had life insurance for years. Why are you on my front doorstep? You're crazy. Get out of here. And it's just like, are these the same leads? You don't even get to the point where I was thinking, are these people scamming me? And I would say or suggest that might be the case, but my experience has been that this has been a commonality between all the different leads out there. For Facebook leads, is they're harder to reach, and there's this dramatic polarity with it, and it's partially you get what you pay for. You know, you're paying usually for a less expensive lead. So, anyways, yeah, I don't know. What's my advice? Buy direct mail, man. I mean, that's what I'm going to say every single time. You go on convention, 90% of the people there are on direct mail leads. Okay, the face-to-face agents at least. And again, it goes back to what I talked about earlier. Replicate what works. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Direct mail's been used and has a track record of decades, longer than I've been alive probably, in the final expense field, as well as other insurance as well. All right, next question is, hey, Jerry, what's up? Will I have better success just door knocking rather than calling beginning? Oh, yeah, Jerry, you're great at the door, man. Jerry's great. I've worked with Jerry for years. He is great at the door. He should door knock. I think, and if you door knock in general, guys, you're going to get better follow through. You're going to get more presentations. The reason is you physically have a human face-to-face conversation. The phone, it allows people to be jerks. You don't see these people. It's hard to be an ass if you're staring face-to-face with somebody smiling back to you, putting their hand out to greet you. You just have to be like a complete sociopath to just like, and slam the door. And they're going to be out there, guys, but much less that way. Again, it's easier and to be more effective door-to-door. At what point would you do less door knocking and do some appointment setting? Definitely 25, 30-plus leads. Anything less than that, you should be able to door knock the whole week. Hey, John Romeo, what's the best way to get appointments for older leads? Tele, FB, and mail. Door knock. Just show up at the door and treat them like, hey, you sent this card in. I don't know when it was, but hey, I'm here. You requested information, and then just go into the script. You know, don't even really spend too much time thinking, like, geez, I'm sorry, I'm like 2 years late. Are you alive still? Just treat it like normal. Show them the lead, show them where their signature is, and then take the card away, control the card, control the apparatus, and then continue on. And the thing is that they'll say, I don't remember sending that in. And then maybe you just, oh, yeah, you sent it in a year or two ago, whatever. But, hey, I'm here now. I just need 5 minutes to show you the information. And if they're interested, great. Be prepared to be more persistent on the older leads, and be prepared to be ready to replace existing coverage too. A lot of the times people had coverage or have it and may be interested in a better deal. And they're going to be at that point a year or two in where they'll be more inclined to be interested in it. Dave, I meant your first insurance job. Yeah, first insurance job, straight commission, 100%. Always happened. How do you handle aggressive dogs in the field? Good question, Duke. I had one. I was in Cleveland, Tennessee. I pulled up, and there was these two kids sitting on the porch. The door was wide open. It was like summer. And I said, hey, is Grandma in? And they said, yeah, go on in. I started walking in the door. It was like a shotgun house, probably 1,000 square feet. And this big pit bull jumped up, put its big old paws right on my thighs, and its muzzle was right in my crotch. I thought, oh, God, it's over now, man. It's just, I froze. I didn't move. I didn't want to scare the dog. And it felt like an eternity. But the old lady said, oh, okay, well, come over here. Come over here, little dog. You don't need to bother him. It's just the insurance man or something like that. Of course, she ended up lapsing the policy, too. It's just these people. I avoid them. I have found that if I have a dog, if you feel uncomfortable in any circumstance, dogs, places, wherever you work, the time of day, don't do it. Trust your instinct. You can always call them. You can always do like my friend Rouse, who's here, lay on the horn. A lot of people will come out when they hear you honk the horn a couple of times. Do whatever you can to get in. And if it means you got to do that kind of stuff, then great. All right. So I'm going to switch back to the topic du jour, what I would do differently if I could start over again, knowing what I know now. And so number 3 here, and I'll get back to your questions momentarily. Keep asking, by the way, if you're just joining. If you've got questions, life insurance, sales questions, feel free to post them below in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer them. My third recommendation, and I wish I would have done this earlier. People like Rouse on the stream now told me about this. Another guy named Lee Martinez out in California, old codger who probably sells $200,000 or $300,000 plus a year in his underwear. How does he do it? Over the phone too. How does he do it? He works his book of business. Okay, so this is something I think kind of speaks to a larger goal I wish I had early on, which was looking at this business as a lifetime profession and commitment. It's understandable. I was in the same position. When you get into life insurance, it's like, I got to make money yesterday. I got to make sales. I got to get my mortgage paid. I got to get back on my feet because I'm here in the insurance business because I ain't got nobody else to go. You're not thinking, well, what am I going to do in 5 years or 10 years from now? I get it, okay? But you need to focus on some level of long-term thinking because here's the beauty of insurance business. The beauty is not in that first sale. The beauty is in the follow-up sales and the referrals that you will get from your book of business. You can have a fantastic insurance business if you spend the time going back to the people who already gave you their banking information, who already gave you their personal information, and continue to help them with insurance. One thing that struck me as really odd when I first started in life insurance sales is that every other sale I made was to somebody who already had insurance. And I couldn't help but to think, why wasn't the other guy here? The other guy should have been here selling this deal. Why am I, a complete stranger, coming into this client who just bought a policy a couple years ago? Why isn't this person buying it from them? Why are they buying it from me? I know that I prefer to repeat business at some place that I know, like, and trust. Why not now? Well, it's because probably the agent failed out, or the agent has a complete order-taking mentality that is from day to day. And that is an inherently natural mindset you have to break. You have to look at that first sale as making them a client, okay? And I want you to change the terminology you use from your customers, your life insurance customers. That to me is a sin. Sin is maybe a little too hard of a word. It is an improper use to describe the relationship that you have. You have a client. A customer is transactional. A client is a relationship, okay? And if you build clientele, from there you build more business through referrals, through service, through cross-selling, and you begin to like realize how fun this business is when all of a sudden somebody calls you up and they want to buy a $1,000 commission policy from you. And you didn't have to go buy a bunch of direct mail leads, start the process of creating fresh clientele from cold leads or warm leads and doing that whole process. It's killer when you get referrals that call you, or you just harvest your books and deal with old friends, because that's kind of what it's like. It has a different pace. You'll find you're less stressed. You help out your clients, and you have the opportunity to win even more of their business. And I used to think that final expense was one of those that was one of those business where you couldn't do this. Totally wrong. You can continue to sell more policies to these people. Most of these people in final expense have Medicare plans. Look, Medicare Advantage changes from time to time. Supplements go up in price. Once you get good, and we'll talk about later, you can cross-sell other products. You can continually build more business into your group of people. Guy at One Life, I think his name, I got his book somewhere. It's rather expensive. It's a guy named Brandon Clay. He talks about being a senior advisor, not just being the final expense dude, but being a complete package type of agent. I think this is admirable as a long-term goal for most agents. Short-term, I think you need to be laser-focused. But ultimately, my point is that the idea is sound in the sense of leveraging all opportunity out of your clients that you can. And you might as well, again, Lewis, I keep referencing Lewis on the call here, but he was the one who taught me that what you've got to do is, look, you're selling people who already gave you their information. Why didn't they do it again? Okay, so how can you do this? So, of course, you can't do this necessarily from the beginning, but 6 months in to 12 months in, go back to your clients, do client reviews. Call them up and say, hey, just touching base to see how things are going. Wanted to stop by and show you some new programs we're offering. All it takes is 5 minutes. We'll take a look at your existing policy, review it, make sure everything's set the way it should be. How's Tuesday at 2 or was 10 be better? Some approach like that. And then you go through their policy, you service them first, you give first, update their beneficiaries. That's the best way to get back in the house and service them. And then, and then see what other opportunities are there. Maybe they want to buy a smaller policy, an upgraded policy. Maybe they want to add more coverage. Maybe they want to buy a Medicare plan because they're aging into 65. Also, you can ask for referrals at this point too, okay? Because again, a person who likes doing business with you, has had business with you, is more likely to refer, but you've got to ask to get them. And I've got training, look online, David Duford referral training. You'll see a bunch of videos there if you want to start there. And then, of course, like I said, cross-sell. So again, I wish I did this a lot sooner. There's so much business out there in your existing book if you will only open your mind and think longer term, not just from deal to deal. Don't forget your clients. That's my point, because somebody else will get them if you do. Hey, Chris, what's going on? FE question. Several product changes closed out 2018. Yeah, I know, man. I was here on the last call. I had a candle and a match, and I was lighting a candle. Last wishes for Surety, Settlers, Foresters, Telesales. That's all of them, man. What do you foresee carrier-wise in 2019 with longer mortality and low interest rates? I don't know, man. I'm just a burial insurance agent. That's over my pay grade. Well, let's see. If the people are living longer, it means they can pay more. Wouldn't that mean that prices would be better? And I'm just saying that out loud, rhetorically speaking. Low interest rates. I don't know. I thought interest rates are going up. I guess relatively speaking, they're low over the longer course. I don't really know. I don't know how to answer that. I'm sorry. I would figure that this business will still be there because from the sense of demographics, there's going to be enough interest with the amount of people retiring that somebody somewhere will come in, just like they always do, and replace these old players, which truthfully, how much did we ever need a Surety and Settlers? I don't think their loss in exiting the business really portends a larger problem. They were minor carriers in a minor way. They just didn't have the impact that a Foresters or a Transamerica or Mutual Omaha does. They didn't have a solid product, and they were just left for the niches, unfortunately. And then I think really more than anything, the question becomes telesales, because Foresters, pulled out of telesales. from it, but they were in a different type of model that allowed for material representation. I don't know if allowed, it just ended up happening that way. More adverse selection and issues that face-to-face agents weren't getting in their block of business. So I think, if anything, telesales is questionable, although I do think telesales will continually be better with better setups that are more compliance-driven and focused, and we'll get better results that way. I think more along the lines of telesales, that a one-carrier approach is probably going to be the best way to go. Think Colonial Penn over the phone, or even American Amicable Pioneer Life or something like that. Just my opinion. Hey, Dwayne, what's up? Hey, cool, man. All right, Sydney. Hey, what's up, Sydney? Sydney, I mean Rouse. Lewis, where'd you go? Oh, man, I got a bunch of questions here. All right, hold on. Is this the Rose Bowl of insurance agencies? I guess so. I'm not big on football, as you know. Brian Soma, great Brave New World reference. Yes, I'm full of those weird references. Serial, hey, how you doing? Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, man. How do you get people into this industry? Good question. If you're looking to recruit, first thing you can do is prove that you can be successful, okay? Put yourself in your friend's position. I'm assuming these are people you're calling on that you know. Nobody likes the MLM approach, having to sit through an opportunity meeting. But the best way that you can prove something is viable is to be successful, personally. People will ask you when your income goes up and you're driving a nicer car, living in a bigger house, what are you doing to get there? And your friends will want to know. And some of them will be interested because they say, hey, Serial doesn't work for the man anymore. He goes on a lot of vacations, a lot of trips, seems to be having a good time. I'd like to learn more about that. I hate my job. So I just think living by example is the first one. And being a success in your own right as a personal producer is important. Other than that, look, the great thing is the insurance business on a recruiting side is actually best when things go bad. I'm a huge believer that if the economy tanks with the way the stock market is, that my business is going to do fantastic because people lose jobs, they lose out on their retirement plans, they become disillusioned with the corporate approach to life, and many times they hit a certain age range where they have nothing to lose. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys on here who are over 50 that had a great job that paid well, and then you got let go. Age discrimination. I get a lot of agents that come from that background. And so what'll happen is that people will start to seriously look at something like life insurance sales because there's not really many other options. So, yeah, I just think living by example is important. There's too many people in this business that recruit without any experience. I've talked to so many agents that said, yeah, I got into, I don't know, some multi-level marketing company, and the guy who recruited me never sold anything. He just got recruited 3 months ago. And that's just a recipe for disaster. Those good agents will leave you for somebody else. So be an example, be successful first, and the good stuff will follow. All right. Byron, what do you think of TV-generated FE leads? I think they work great for, generally speaking, on a reliable basis for call centers. That's about it, though, because unless you work a very metropolitan, large population dense like a Chicago or Atlanta, you usually have to work the whole state and make a commitment to buy any leads that are generated in that state. And, of course, that kind of setup makes sense if you are an agent that works over the phone or something like that. But I've heard they're good, with that said. But I've also heard people say, yeah, some guy called at 2 in the morning drunk, and he didn't even remember he called. And then that's going to happen. But like I said, you got to accept the good with the bad. It's the same thing with anything. Mortief, the annuity selling. Do you need a Series 6 license? No. We sell indexed annuities. They're not variable. They don't require any sort of advanced licensing, just a life insurance license. Hey, Mac, what's up? I haven't made the leap yet. I've noticed such a high rate of no-shows from preset appointments and telemarketing. What do you think of just door knocking if you get their names first from a list? Everything works some of the times. Nothing works most of the time. So I guess what I'm saying is that, again, you're trading. You can't trade out the bad with the good. The thing with door knocking is it's strict sweat equity. You're going to have to probably door knock 20 to 30 doors a day to get a sale a day. So it's just work ethic. You've got to be able to have a thick skin. People are going to talk to you at the door. It's usually not that bad when you talk to them and approach them. And then just close the door and you go away and no big deal. But yeah, it's just a function of just going out there. I would even suggest not to carry a list. Just go door knock when you see a car in someone's driveway and just see what happens. The key thing is to have more face-to-face interactions, and using a list kind of as a way can kind of avoid that, unless you're working something like Medicare supplements where you need to have a list. Just life license, okay. Serial, if you want me to explain anything more elaborate, let me know. Just plan a door knock, just touch the door. Yep, just door knock, see what happens. John says, I agree on door knocks. I'll present myself as an agency owner and tell them every year I make an effort to spend some time with the field meeting my company's current and future clients. They listen? Yeah. Do you bring flyers, brochures, or drop them off? Nope, just door knock. I would bring a card, and I'm assuming you're working final expense. I would bring a card that was blank, and I would say, hey, my name is David Duford. I'm stopping in today because you probably have received some kind of card like this in the past. About state-regulated life insurance programs. I'm here because my job is to follow up with everybody who gets one of these, and I wanted to see if you had a few minutes to go over the information talked about on this card, and may I come in? So this particular approach, and you can use that exact script, it leverages the existing marketing that all of these people are familiar with. Again, 95% of people don't fill the card out, but they see it, and they're like, what is this? Is this a scam? You know, so there's going to be a curiosity effect when you talk to them. Plus, they'll leverage something in their mind with something that they've gotten in the past. People get like 6, 7, 8 cards a month, okay? So you're reminding them of something they're very familiar with. Okay, I'm going to leave here and go to number 4 on what I would do differently if I could. Hold on one second. I gotta blow my nose. Okay. What would I do differently had I known what I know now? I think that's right. Number 4, focus on building passive income after several years. Okay. So, here's the thing. This is more in line with life insurance agents because most life agents are first-year driven agents. The bulk of our commissions are made on the front end. However, what you will find, as I personally found, which is why I recruit, is that it is a hamster wheel. You have to continuously find people to talk to sell them over and over again. I'm not complaining. It's just the nature of this business. However, one of the most glorious things about selling insurance is the capability to disconnect work from income. In other words, you have the ability in selling insurance to have some portion of it to be passively generated, okay? Or what we call renewals. I think ultimately you should shift some focus after a number of years on a renewal-driven approach. I don't think you should do it in most cases with most agents within the first couple of years. Maybe after the first year. You should have mastery in your first product first, in your first approach first, before you even consider going to somewhere else. Because what you don't want to do is jump around between different ideas with the silver bullet theory and then actually fail at everything. Master your first product, master your first approach, and then when the time is right, a couple of years in and you're completely confident, start to cross-sell or do some kind of passive income generation activities. I came to the point in my career, I was about 2.5, 3 years in, where I love work. I can work constantly. That's what I'm built to do. But I recognize that, well, you know, I have twins now, have a 5-year-old, 30. I may not want to work this hard 6 days a week all the time. And so I decided that I would do add on some kind of additional activity to have a way to earn income without actively selling to get it. And my choice was between recruiting and selling Medicare, because the logical next step in dealing with the senior population is to represent Medicare. Go back to your book of business like I talked about earlier, or just source leads and sell it that way. I decided on recruiting. It's chiefly because I'm a teacher at heart. I love the business. I love helping agents. And I will tell you guys, I like the training side of things, working with agents, more than I do selling it, okay? I like selling it, but I get more satisfaction about helping people become their best and having relationships with agents and doing that. And the beauty of that, of course, is that, yes, there's first-year income from it, but there's a lot of passive income opportunity from it. from the standpoint of a buildup of renewals over the course of 5 to 10 years. The buildup of, and then really just not having to go sell to get it. Now, with that said, you better service your agents. You better pick up the phone when they call, answer text messages in a timely manner, show your value in helping them grow their business. So it's not passive or inactive by any stretch. It's just, I don't have to go see the people constantly in order to keep my bank account to where I like it to be. I now can recruit other people to duplicate that process and earn income while I'm not actually going to sell. So I think this is important because it cracks into, I think, the one of the few things that many other businesses offer, which is that passive ability to earn income. And I think you should take it seriously after a couple of years. Understand that you will get older. You will not want to run as hard. You will want to spend more time with family. And this is coming from a hardcore workaholic. And you will extremely appreciate the capability to take your foot off the pedal if you have to. But I believe, like everything in life, this is earned. It is not given to you. You have to fight. You have to prove yourself. You have to be successful first before you start getting onto all these like multiple streams of income. Success, massive success at first, then begin to build passively or passive income. Yeah. Okay. Questions? Hey, Dwayne, how do we handle it when a lead keeps asking you to call them back at a later time? It's happening a lot. They are busy or one excuse or another. I give them the ultimatum, man. I'm too old for this stuff. I say, look, here's the deal. So I guess the only thing I would say is there's a difference between, are you finding that you're setting the appointment, or are you in presentation? I'm going to go with an appointment. What I would do on an appointment is I would say, hey, look, let's say you door knock them, or it doesn't matter what you do. Say, hey, look, I've talked to you a couple times. I'm very busy. Let's do this. I'm just going to come over. I'm going to spend 5 minutes with you. I'll be there tomorrow at 10. Just tell them what you're going to do. Be a little more pushy about it. That's the only instance where I'd probably get a little more pushy. Same thing at the door. If it's in a presentation where I'm presenting to them for a second or third time, we're like, well, let me still think about it. I'll say, look, I can't come back. This is the last time I'm going to be here. And you know why? Because I got this big stack of leads. I got people who need to see me today to get them coverage. And I desperately want to help you. Maybe leave out desperately. I really want to help you, but only if you want me to help you. Why don't we just start you with the cheapest plan, get this thing started. Well, I don't need any money today. We'll start it next month. Does that sound fair? Do something to at least get something on the books. And then say, hey, look, and then if you don't want to do it, great. Let's shake hands, be friends. I won't bother you anymore. I'd love to help you, though, if you'd like this. But if you don't, then let's just end it now. What do you want to do? So I just give them the ultimatum, because you can waste a lot of time, productive time. You should be selling people who actually want and need your services and can spend the money on them. All right. Hey, John. Yes, but my sole goal is to make a full presentation there or set up an appointment for one. What was your question? Yeah, of course. Yeah, when you do a door knock, I'm assuming this is what you said. If it didn't, you can clarify. When you do a door knock, you always want to get in the door. The goal is to set now and sell them now if you can. But if you got to go back, that's fine too. Tanner, hey, what's up? What's your best advice on regards to scheduling appointments when you're brand new to make sure you have enough time to get to each appointment? I would set appointments 2 hours apart until you get a feel for the sales presentation and get an idea of what to expect. And then as time progresses and you have confidence, shorten it down. When I first started in the business, my appointments were set 2 hours apart. If I got done with the appointment, I just go door knock another lead that maybe we were having a hard time reach. Give yourself more time up front than you think. And then with experience, lessen that down. Inward's the way out. Hey, if I've been appointed to a carrier, name of a president, but never wrote any policies, how to get out without repercussions? I don't think you will have any. The only repercussions to have is if you've had a lead debt. They'll want you to pay that. But if you've not written anything, you can walk away. You are in business for yourself, guys. Don't forget that. You are not an employee. You are a 1099 independent contractor. The IRS considers you a business person, a sole proprietor. In that context, you choose how you want to run your business. If you want to get out of there, go. Nobody's going to hold you back. John Romeo, Dave, what are your thoughts on having non-insurance products available? I fell into this reverse mortgages. Client asked me, seniors are the only market. I hooked up with a mortgage broker, 6,000 feet, sweet. Yeah, I've heard of that. It just totally depends. I don't know anybody who sells non-insurance products that's at top. Again, my process of thinking when you ask that, John, is, okay, what do top producers do, right? Ultimately, we all want to be top producers. We want to make a lot of money, right? Do any top producers sell anything non-insurance related? No. I don't know any of them. They all just sell insurance strictly. Most of it just one product too, by the way. Hey, Jim Ward, what's going on? Good conversation. I should listen to these more often. Kemper and Gerber both showing interest in working with me on parent life insurance for employees to buy through bankroll, payroll deduction, moving slowly. Good to hear. Yeah, Jim and I, by the way, guys, we've got this scheme going on where we're going into large corporations. Jim actually is a very successful employee benefits agency, and to sell life insurance products to insure the employee's parents. We've been pursuing this for a while and trying to find a company that's interested in it. To me, it's a fantastic idea. Jim knows it is too. Anybody in the employee benefits enrollment business knows that there's people who ask about getting coverage for their parents. And there's a huge opportunity because nobody's doing it. So let's cross our fingers. Mike says, are multiple agents from different IMOs calling on the same prospect office? Great question. Totally depends. Now, in some circumstances, the company, the agent, no, the client, future client, the prospect, will fill out multiple lead cards, okay? It happens. That doesn't mean that your lead company is screwing you. However, there are companies that resell your leads where you will see the same person that somebody else saw 30 days ago, okay? It's a bummer when you buy a lead and they already bought, okay? And they don't explain this to you in a transparent fashion. My take on this business is, if you're going to do it right, buy fresh and exclusive leads from a vendor who publicly says that their leads are fresh and exclusive. Fresh meaning they were just made yesterday or a couple of weeks ago is fresh in my mind, and they never resell them. You don't want to deal with all the repercussions when it comes to aged leads and resold leads and all that nonsense. It sucks. All right. Continuing on. Let's see, Ken, you got it. 52. Let go. Okay. What is your opinion on telemarketing leads? I think they suck. Lewis, I hate telemarketed leads. Ever since avatar leads became illegal, all it is a bunch of third world people speaking broken English to seniors who can barely hear to begin with, who think they're being scammed. I ran a bunch of junk Filipino, no, nothing wrong with Filipinos, but they don't speak good English. They're not American, all right? And I ran a bunch of leads. I had 4 appointments set. The first 3 no-showed. I called the 4th one and I said, hey, I'm just coming in here early. Can I come? And she said, sure. I showed up there. The lady called the cops on me because she was afraid I was some guy from Pakistan that was going to take all of her money or some crap. And there's the only time in my 8-year career where I said, screw these leads. I'm never working them again. I had more appointments, leads set, a whole bunch of money down the drain. And that's why I'm adamant. I go back to direct mail time and time again because, again, bottom line, I've experienced all the same frustrations with these other leads. I don't want you to do all this. I want you to do what works. Just do it. Just do direct mail. So I don't like telemarketed leads. Generally recommend that you stay away from them. There's exceptions, sure. But the ones where you buy the leads, not good. Dave, I have only sold mortgage protection. What is the typical annual premium volume on final expense? 500 to 600 AP. Some markets you'll see higher, but I would safely say $50 a month is average. Bob says, do you take action against agents who misrepresent or twist your clients into dropping your sold policy? No, I just don't have time for it. If you're running a bunch of appointments, and you did a good job selling that and they end up dropping it, I mean, I try to save it, but I'm not going to go report them to the DOI because it's unlikely they'll do anything up there anyway. They're almost useless. Yep, Chris, you're right. Tony says, hey, Dave, thanks for taking time to do this New Year's Day. You got it. My wife really appreciates me, too, doing this. Did I mention it? You're helping to start off 2019 on the right foot. God bless. Hey, Ryan, what's up? I'm new to understanding insurance companies. You mentioned there may be better producer-driven programs versus more MLM-style program. As far as I understand, this is just how insurance companies work, mostly from just an experience. Can you elaborate? Sure. So a lot of these big organizations out there, they're the ones that sell blue sky. They show you your 1099. They show you their Ferraris they're driving. They're usually in full custom tailored suits. They charge you to go on conventions. They go learn, and they get up there and flash fat stacks of cash around. I've heard everything. I had one guy I worked with years ago who was from MLM, and he got into this with probably the biggest MLM around. And he said they took him there, flew him in his private jet, and they're around a rectangular table, and they passed around the owner's like a stack of $10,000. I kid you not. And passed it for everybody to touch it and smell it. And then they passed around the Rolex to hold it, the Rolex in your hand. Like, this is God that's speaking to you. Listen to what this guy says. And he sat there and he was like, this is stupid. He's like, I'm coming here to work and learn how to build a business, not, worship at the altar of your material success. I mean, come on. Obviously that stuff is good for some people. It motivates some people. I'm not like that. I think a lot of it's just silly. But that is the warning sign. That's the big red flashing sign that says, run away. This is an MLM. We're trying to recruit you to, what's the old saying? Hire them in masses, sell them in class, or train them in class to sell all your friends and family and fire asses. That's the mantra of MLM. It's just a waste most of the time, unfortunately. Versus me, little old Dave. Little marketing organization usually pays his agents double what the MLMs do with a complete sales and marketing program. There's others like me too on YouTube, on other parts of the internet that recruit nationally. There's a lot better opportunities out there. But of course, people come into this, and it's understandable. You just don't know any better. You just see this and think this is it. It's only by trial and error you see there's another way, and that's why I exist, to do what I do. All right. Let's see here. AIL is such garbage. What's AIL? I've never heard of them. Mark Scholl, hey, what's up? What is the best direct mail vendor? I like Need a Lead for fixed price leads. I work with RGI through my marketing organization, and they do a great job as well. Can you recommend a lead company? There you go. Are annuity products hard to learn? No. We teach agents to sell annuities based off of the particular experience that they're going through. So, for example, when an agent finds a potential for annuity client, we take that to Stephen Burgess, who handles my agents who want to sell annuities and think they got a case, and then we help you design a case. So you learn by doing as opposed to the alternative. So it's a little more complex, but it's not too terribly complex. Yes, I have heard of AIR American Income Life. I'll let Scott or Ben describe that. Yes, I've seen those too, yeah. I've only seen one AAL policy in my entire life. It's crazy. Steve, does it make sense to do mail campaign myself or use outside company? Use an outside company. Let them do it, especially a fixed price lead program. You'll save hundreds of dollars per campaign. Have a 49 home development going up in the street. Do you think it's worth to market for mortgage protection? Maybe. I don't know. I would say when you see somebody move in, just stop in and introduce yourself. You don't really need a lead to do it. Machias, hey, what's up? Hey, Dave, as an FE agent, I'm always at battle with myself as to whether I door knock or dial daily. I'm a fairly seasoned agent. I wrote 180K in 18. Nice job, man. I'm looking to grow. Do you primarily door knock? You need to start calling more, man, or you need to hire an appointment setter. All right, you're at capacity in my mind. Without knowing the details, my gut would say you probably, for asking these questions, you're at capacity. You need to buy more leads, and you need to hire an appointment setter to set those appointments for you so you can go exclusively set appointments or see people during the day. So all your job is to do is to run preset appointments and door knock between those appointments for those leads that never answer. And you know what I'm talking about. You're probably already door knocking them now. You will probably increase your production by 50%, which would be, what is $90,000 in production for an added cost of probably $20,000 to $30,000. So you can increase your income substantially, probably by a third to 40% just on doing that, and you won't have to call. You'll have nights again with your family. You'll run more appointments. You'll be thrilled by not having to go out there and grind it out daily. That's exactly what I recommend to you in a nutshell. All right. What's the initial investment weekly for a lead costs don't overcome for a specific period to make sure lead costs? You want to make sales within the first. You should be covering your lead cost from a production standpoint on the first week. you'll cash flow within the first month if you're paid on issue or draft. Who is a good appointment setter? Upwork.com. Post an ad. There's all sorts of appointment setters. What lead do you recommend for need a lead or fixed price leads? Just ask them about the fixed price leads. They'll tell you. I'm sorry, I'm kind of running out of time here. I'm at the hour-long mark. I've got my last point to do here. And so, again, I had 5 points talking about what I would do differently had I known any different. I'm going to tell you right now, guys. It's very important. And probably comes as a surprise here. Hopefully you can tell by my shirt and by my official mascot of the Dave Dufour channel, the Kool-Aid Man. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important that you drink the Kool-Aid. Not the kind that's poisonous that kills you, but you have to be fully committed and believe in what you do. The worst thing you can do is overthink this business and try to manifest some different approach that is unwarranted, untested, and unproven. You must burn the bridges when you get into this business. There can be no plan B if you want success in selling insurance, okay? This is your last career. I want you to think this today. When you go to bed tonight, you have to believe and think this is it. I have nothing else to me. This is my last chance for anything in life that is above mediocre. And I'm totally 100% committed. I'm going to follow the system I'm given. I'm going to give 110% effort. I'm going to commit completely and never give up. I'm going to drink the Kool-Aid in so many words. As long as it's not the MLM MLM blue Kool-Aid, then that's what you need to do. That is the most important thing you can do, is be completely and 100% committed. I can't say it enough. You will have hard times. You will be successful. You will question whether you should even be selling insurance. You'll consider seriously about quitting this business because the people drive you nuts. Nobody's buying. But you have to survive. That is the key, guys, all right? I am not some sort of genius when it comes to selling. I am only successful because I refuse to quit. And you need to have that mindset. You will learn this business through time. You have to have patience. You have to go through the process. But as time progresses, it will get easier. You will be better. You will be more successful. And if you just survive, man, this business can provide so much for you. It can provide so much for your family. The lifestyle I have at 34 years old, when I talk to other people that got real jobs, shoot, man, it's great. I'm blessed. But it's because I put my time and effort in on the front end. And for all you guys that are getting into this business, you're brand new, a year or 2 years, the key is survival. And the key to surviving is doing what works, following the system and committing to it and controlling this up here. This is your worst enemy. It's not the other agent out there. It's not the captive guy. It's not the guy with the fraternal company that's undercutting your pricing. It's the guy that looks back at you in the mirror. You got to overcome that. And if you can, then you can defeat the biggest enemy we all have, ourselves, and likely do extremely well in this business. And it is a get-rich-slow business. Remember that too. Commit yourself to it, so on and so forth. Happy New Year. All right. I'm out of steam. 85 people. I want to thank you guys for joining. Lots of live streaming here. I love it. I hope you guys enjoyed my little pep talk. I'm not much of a pep talker, but when it comes out in a good way. Thank you guys for joining. If you got any questions, you're watching this in a recording, leave them comments in below. You guys have a great, fantastic year. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. I've got tons of great new content. I've got a brand new interview coming out tomorrow about index universal life selling. It's going to be fantastic. So if you ever wondered about IULs, it's going to be great. And if you're interested in selling insurance, this guy recruits. Go to daviddufour.com. Learn about the daviddufour.com difference. Hey, that's new. I just made that up on the spot. Learn how you can work with me with final expense, annuity sales, and other products. And check out my books, training programs, and everything else. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time. Take care.